Well, I ended up going with a fourth coat of wax on this thing, and I am glad I did, because now not only is it shiny and nice looking, but it is smooth and slick. So that pinball is going to glide around this playfield now and make playing it even more enjoyable. It was a little cold in the garage as I was putting on that last coat, so I did warm up the playfield a bit just to get the wax to go on a little more smooth. And yeah, it turned out nice. Definitely glad that I put that extra fourth coat of wax on it. So we'll let it sit for a little while. End up flipping the playfield over and addressing the underside of the playfield. We have mechanisms to go through, especially this spinning mechanism right here. We'll have to go through those. All of the switches need to be burnished, everything up top and everything underneath. So that is next for the Domino. But yeah, that fourth wax, definitely worth the extra effort. All right. With the playfield flipped over, it's time to take a look at the underside of this thing. Now I already know that it's going to need a bit of cleaning. All of the switches underneath here, multiple switches, you can see them right there. Every leaf switch will need to be burnished. This mechanism is the one that's going to take the most time, I think, to kind of peel it apart. I may have to redo the paint a little bit, but overall it looks to be in good shape. Looking at the coils, you know, there aren't very many heat marks on any of them, so the coils themselves look to be in good shape. There's no obvious signs they've overheated over time. So yeah, I think the first thing to do is burnish all those leaf switches, and then we'll get into the mechanisms here. We'll get into this, you know, each mechanism, pull them apart, clean them, get them lubricated, and yeah, go from there. But overall, I'm happy with the way it looks. So nice. all the leaf switches on the bottom of the playfield have been cleaned and burnished. And I'm sure you noticed in the time lapse as I got done cleaning them, I would test to make sure that they made contact the way they should, and checking to make sure that each one is functioning properly. Not all leaf switches, when they are malfunctioning, will kill a game or make it feel like it's playing improperly, but it definitely won't score your game properly. So I take the time to make sure that each one is making contact, because then I know the game is 100% functional. Along the way, you'll notice some things that aren't right and need to be repaired. I'm gonna see if I can get in there close to this one. But this little guy right here, right there, you can see there's a hole on top of that. That's where the pad that makes contact is actually missing. So this leaf switch is never going to make contact the way it should without that pad there. You can see on this guy right here. Let's see, right there. You can see that guy has the little bump there. That's the rivet on the bottom of the pad. This guy is missing. So yeah, gotta find a replacement leaf for that one, or rivet on a new pad. Other things to look out for on this relay, when you check them, see how some of them are connected right now, some of them are spaced, some of them are touching. Each one has to be touching, and it's hard to tell unless you're really up close on it, but when they touch, they make it move a little. So if you look at the very bottom leaf switch, right on the bottom over there, right there, that should go down a little bit when it touches to make sure it has good contact. And in this case, it's going down just a little bit. There are other ones on the top that should be touching. When you release it, it should go up, letting you know that there's good contact. You notice that this guy right there, right there, should go up just a little bit when it makes contact, and it's not. So that needs to be adjusted a little bit. And use leaf switch tools. Let's see if I can grab one real quick. Leaf switch tools. Like this. Right there. It has a little slot in the end of it. Let's see if it'll focus right there. Nope, not going to focus. Yeah, it won't focus on it. But put it on a different background. You can see the slot down there. That's so that you can reach in there and adjust this leaf. Reach in right there. And give it a little twist so that it comes down a little bit. Just a little bit. Bend it down a little bit. Now, pull this off. Now if we look at it, when we go down, we come back up, see how it comes up just slightly. That means it's making good contact. And you have to check that on all of the leaf switches to make sure that they're making good contact. That way you don't have something missing a connection when it should be making a connection. So after adjusting that switch, I think the last thing to do is to find a replacement for that. And if I don't have a replacement, I'll go ahead and rivet a new pad on and go from there. And it'll be on to cleaning the mechanisms themselves. And that should be pretty fun. Okay, the leaf switches are working again. This one, of course, was smaller than what I have on hand, so I did have to go back and peen in a new pad on that leaf switch. And went to put it back on and noticed that the leaf underneath it was also missing the pad, so that was two on the same leaf switch that needed to be replaced. Would have been much easier if I had on hand one of those leaf switches. I could have just soldered out that leaf switch, put in a new one. But yeah, not impossible to repair pads if you don't have the right leaf switch. So yeah, I went ahead and cleaned the bottom spoon, which is the activation leaf at the bottom, at the same time while I had it off. And this, while I was looking at this other one, I noticed that this pad wasn't missing, but it was spinning as I cleaned it. So I knew that it wasn't making good contact. I pulled this top leaf off, and the bottom part of the leaf had lots of the soot that happens when you have a loose connection. You get those sparks, and those sparks create soot, and that soot makes a worse connection. So yeah, so I went ahead and repeened that pad onto this leaf and put it back together. And when you have it apart, you always got to clean the little bits and pieces that you can't get to. So I cleaned that spoon as well. And then I figured, well, I've already done two, I might as well do the other two. So I pulled that one off and that one off, and got them cleaned, adjusted them so that they activate properly. But yeah, this is an example of something that could have very easily burned out that coil, because that's the end of stroke switch. Basically, it disables the high voltage as this comes down. It releases that switch, disconnects that switch, and releases high voltage so it doesn't burn it up. Yeah, so the bottom of the Playfield switches, at least, are done. It took a good hour just to rebuild those two switches and clean the spoons and put this other back in place. So yes, I haven't touched those bad boys yet, but that is next on the list. Time to work on the mechanisms.